Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yeah, if I can really talk. You're listening to our magical number, episode 50 of the Wrestling Fans Insight. Today, we are not going to be joined by one of our co-hosts, Carlos, he is actually at AEW Revolution today, so he's going to be doing a special assignment, and who knows, if we can get time to record a bonus episode next week, we'll do it. If not, we're going to make Carlos the man next Sunday, so hell, Carlos, if you're listening, you better be prepared, damn it, because Heather, William, and I, we're all counting on you, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Don't you both talk at once or anything, so Carlos gives me shit all the time, and then you two just, Anyhow, Heather, how you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good. Just the week went pretty good. Things are kind of settling down after the little family issues and stuff that's been going on. I don't know if y'all have said anything about my daughter or anything, but things are looking up with her, and she's finally home. And my daughter, she passed away on the 9th, and there was just she's adopted, and so there was just some kind of issues with that, but we finally got her home. And everything's going good with that. So I'm happy about that. So I can get that past me and just kind of let my life settle down and hopefully be back regular with the show and just calm down.
Well, William, how's it been going for you this week?
I'm absolutely amazingly tired. Thank you.
Well, hey, at least you didn't have a one-word answer this week, so...
I counted it. It was like 7 or 8.
Oh, that's an improvement for you, So, well, anyhow, yeah, this was a much different week for sure. I'm still trying to get used to my new job, and hopefully in the next couple of weeks I'll have everything down pat. But yeah, I apologize to most of my fun Twitter followers. A lot of people have been checking up on me. Yes, I am fine. It's just been a real rough 2 weeks being on my own for a change. So it's going to hopefully get better here. And once it does, I'll be interacting a lot more for sure. Moving on, why don't we talk about wrestling this week? I thought WWE's programming kind of sucked. I felt the promos were actually much better than usual, and the wrestling, not as much. How would you say that?
Hot garbage.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
I mean, how else would you like me to explain it? Most of it was just trash.
Well, I thought Raw and NXT definitely did okay. SmackDown was non-existent, in my opinion.
SmackDown, I didn't even write anything down besides the name. That's how bad it was for me.
Yeah, I was a little baffled. You would think for something on Fox, it almost felt like they were kind of deliberately sabotaging that program that night or something. What's your thoughts, Heather?
Well, see, I actually didn't watch NXT until last night, and to be honest, because I usually shit on NXT, but to be honest, I thought NXT was pretty good compared to Raw and to SmackDown. Especially, Raw. Are we even going to talk about the matches yet? I'm out. But anyway, NXT was better than to Raw and SmackDown, and that's something for me to say. To put it that way.
All right. Well, I wasn't going to spend a whole lot of time with WWE this week, mainly because we have AE Revolution tonight, which is obviously we're recording this podcast on Sunday, but we're going to go ahead and go through the WWE results. That way we can get into the meat and potatoes today. For Monday Night Raw, Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa opened defeating the Street Profits. Cody Rhodes defeating Chad Gable, Asuka getting a victory over Carmella, Candice LeRae gets a win over Piper Niven, Bobby Lashley decimates Elias, Johnny Gargano defeats, how do they call him, Otis?
Yeah.
Who is accompanied by the Maximum Male Model Agency. And for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, we have brand new champions, Lita and Becky Lynch defeating Damage Control. NXT, for the NXT North American Championship, Wesley retains over Nathan Fraser. Indus Shear defeats Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen. Meiko Satomura defeats Zoe Stark. Sol Ruka defeating Elektra Lopez. Tiffany Stratton defeating Katana Chance. Axiom gets a victory over Hank Walker. And Carmelo Hayes actually was a pretty damn good match against Tyler Bate.
This was my match for the week for all of WWE.
See, I thought Meiko Satomura and Zoe Stark had one hell of a match as well.
Oh, it was a good match.
SmackDown results, I'm kind of scared to announce these. Rhea Ripley defeating Liv Morgan, which was definitely match of that night. Dominic Mysterio defeating Santos Escobar. Shayna Baszler over Tegan Nox. And Solo Sikoa defeating Sami Zayn. Things that caught my eye was NXT definitely had some great matches. I thought Wesley and Nathan Fraser did really well. Meiko Satomura and Zoe Stark, like I said earlier, I thought they had a killer match. Tiffany Stratton is definitely getting a little bit better. And Carmelo Hayes and Tyler Bate had one hell of a match. I think Carmelo Hayes is ready to take that NXT championship from Braun Breaker. SmackDown just kind of, the only two things that came out good out of it, in my opinion, was the promo between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. I don't know if that could have been any more heartfelt and more personal than how they presented their match for WrestleMania. And I really thought Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan had a decent match. I just not sure what the point of the match was, if you're kind of right there with me.
Yeah, just like I said before, I didn't even bother writing it down because I get that they're focusing more on the storytelling right now, but they really just kind of failed to bring it throughout the entire program.
I will say, though, for Raw, I was a little excited to see Becky Lynch and Lita take the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships off Damage Control. But now what?
Yeah, that one didn't excite me because, I mean, honestly, how long of a run is Lita going to have here?
I can't imagine it's going to be for very long. And now the question is, does Damage Control regain those championships and become the first 3-time WWE Tag Team Champions?
Who knows? They might go with somebody else.
I just don't know anybody else at the moment is the problem. I think they changed the titles, but the problem is they don't know where to go with those championships now, and that's going to be scary.
Well, I mean, the one suggestion that did come up that's kind of gone dormant was Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, that's a good combo to maybe consider putting the belts on.
That's who I thought was going to get it, was those two.
Yeah, and see, I don't know. It's going to be scary. Sorry, Heather. Why don't we get let's get your thoughts on WWE this week.
Well, yeah, like I said, I thought NXT was the better show this week, and because like Nathan Fraser and Wesley, I thought that was a really good match. And then of course Carmelo Hayes and Tyler Bate was really good. And I like seeing Becky Lynch and Lita getting the belts. But like a lot of people was saying, "Oh, Lita, she looked really slow, like she wasn't sure of herself." Blah blah blah. Okay, it's been a minute since she's really been in the ring, and I enjoyed the match, and I was happy to see that they got the belts. And they was like, "Well, it's not going to be a long." Okay, so fucking what? They got the belts. It was a nice moment. Enjoy it, you know. Why do you people always got to shit on everything? Enjoy the show. Enjoy the moment, you know. And like that's what I liked. And you know, and like I you know that the NXT was the better show, and then the promo between Roman Reigns and Cody I thought was totally awesome. And then I liked how he kept using Dusty, you know, about how he talked, you know, they never talked about Cody when he was with him, you know, different little things that he was saying, and he's like, whatever, you know, your dad didn't teach you, don't worry, I will, you know, different little things like that. And then you know, of course I'm enjoying like the total breakdown of the bloodline, you know, of course I'm enjoying that. And you know, and there's like how Jimmy and Jay, you know, Roman keeps trying to get Jimmy to get Jay to come back, and he asked him, you know, what did he say? And Jay said to tell Roman to leave him the hell alone. And then now you have Roman saying that if Jay is not back in a week, that he's blaming Jimmy. So you got that whole thing going on right there. Like I'm enjoying that. Like where is that going? You know, we should have, like, I hope, you know, main event Jay. You know, I'm wanting to see him come back. But then what's going to happen with Jimmy? You know. And then, like, I can't wait for the match with Cody and Roman. You know, like, is Cody really going to get the belt? I was like, it's just different aspects that I'm looking forward to right there, you know, for WrestleMania. Just for the programming of WWE, I thought NXT was the better show of the week. And that's not saying something coming from me.
Yeah, because we know NXT is your hands-on favorite as far as all the WWE product. Almost as favorite as the Bloodline faction. And we're back, and before we get to the big part of AEW for this week, we're just going to go ahead and go through the results for the opening match. The AEW All-Atlantic Championship, Orange Cassidy retains against Big Bill. Face of the Revolution match ends up being won by Powerhouse Will Hobbs, who will now challenge the winner of the TNT Championship between Samoa Joe and Wardlow. So, yes, Powerhouse Hobbs will challenge that winner on next week's Dynamite. Chris Jericho pretty much makes short work of Peter Avalon for the FTW Championship. Hook retains against Matt Hardy. Riho gets a roll-up victory over Tony Storm. And in the Casino Tag Team Battle Royal, Orange Cassidy pulling double duty, winning that with Danhausen. And so the team of Danhausen and Orange Cassidy will end up being in the four-way match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships at Revolution tonight. For the Rampage, we had the Blackpool Combat Club's members Wheeler Yuta and Claudio Castagnoli defeating Dark Order's Reynolds and Silver, Aussie Open, and Top Flight. Riho defeats Emi Sakura. Powerhouse Hobbs kills Serpentico. And Keith Lee and Dustin Rhodes defeating the team of Swerve Strickland and Parker Boudreaux. Heather, why don't we go ahead and just start off with you on that?
Okay. I think Riho, I really like her. I'm just going to start with that. I think she is excellent, especially for her size. I know she was the women's champion first when I really started watching AEW. I really enjoy watching her wrestling. I was Powerhouse Hobbs. I just knew he was going to win that match. And I'm hoping that Wardlow to win the TNT Championship. Hell knows, but I think that would be a good match between Wardlow and Powerhouse Hobbs for that. Danhausen and Orange Cassidy as a team. I don't know. That one's just comedic right there. I was glad Yuta and Claudio won the four-way match. And I was happy that Dustin Rhodes and Keith Lee beat Swerve and Parker. That's all I got to say about AEW for the week.
Alrighty. Will, why don't you go ahead?
All right. We'll start off with, obviously, Dynamite. I wasn't that big of a fan of the Orange Cassidy versus Big Bill. I just think that was kind of wasted time. As far as the ladder match, that was absolutely killer. I do love the fact that Hobbs won that. I'm real interested to see what the outcome is tonight. Jericho versus Peter Avalon. Whatever. Matt Hardy versus Hook for the FTW. That was actually a really good match. I don't know if you noticed, but at the end of it, Matt Hardy cracked a smile.
Well, yeah, you knew the stipulation on that, right?
I absolutely did.
Stokely Hathaway is going to need a clean pair of shorts here in the next couple of weeks.
Yep. Tony Storm versus Riho, another excellent match. I think they did those two right, especially slotted where it was at for the card. The Battle Royal, I mean, it was awesome, but I have a hard time buying the ending of it. I'm happy that Danhausen got his little shout there, but I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of Danhausen. So, Rampage, the four-way tag, Aussie Open did a really great job. Top Flight, I think everybody really did a great job in this. It was a cool match to watch. Let's see, Riho versus Emi Sakura. This was a killer match too. The only thing that really went on with Rampage, and I'm sorry, but boo to the squash match. Just boo. Keep that out of there. Use that time for a good promo or more time for the females. Swerve and Parker Boudreaux versus Keith Lee and Dustin Rhodes. It was good. I did notice that Parker was a little bit rusty, a little bit sloppy. I'd like to see more from him. But other than that, it was a sound match. It was an interesting dynamic to see Lee and Dustin Rhodes working together.
Yeah. As far as Dynamite, I might be a little different than what you liked. I definitely like the Orange Cassidy pulling double duty on Dynamite. A little unusual. You see both times he would get a victory, but this one was a little interesting. I mean, first off, it's really hard to... I kind of get where you're going with the whole deal with him and Big Bill.
It's hard to sell that match.
It's really hard when there's two mismatched sizes going right there.
Yeah, it's just a hard one to sell. So
yeah. I mean, you would think Big Bill would definitely have an easy victory over Orange Cassidy, which he should have.
And he's one of those bigger guys that we've seen him actually do amazing things. So.
Right. I just think Big Bill wasn't really the right opponent for Orange Cassidy from the Firm. I think that should have been more like, Matt Hardy or who the hell comes out with Big Bill lately. I can't remember.
Moriarty?
Yeah. Well, Moriarty already had his shot for the championship, though.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess Big Bill was the only one left. So, terrible. I guess I didn't think that one too well.
Hey, you know what?
But
it's okay.
It was nice to see Will Hobbs, though, get that golden ring, and he's going to be the next challenge. Well, I should say challenging the winner of tonight's TNT Championship match. What direction that will go, who knows?
And that's what killed me about them throwing that squash match into freaking Rampage.
Yeah, it didn't do justice. Although I kind of understand why, too, though. Chris Jericho, Peter Avalon, I understand the logic. Peter Avalon wants his revenge for not getting his match with Ricky Starks there for Revolution because Jericho interrupted it with Ricky Starks pulling the reverse psychology, basically, like I mentioned. Well, you mentioned for me last week. It was kind of the Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck cartoon segment. However, I don't think it really did Peter Avalon any justice to really have that match. So, yeah, that was pretty much a waste. The FTW Championship, like you mentioned, I thought it was a good match between Hook and Matt Hardy. Hook definitely sold the match a little better than what he has his last few matches. I love the storyline, though, now that Hook won that match. He's now going to have a match with Stokely Hathaway, thanks to Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy's shenanigans in a promo the week prior. So that's going to be fun to watch how that goes down. Riho, Tony Storm, two great talent, really good match. But what does this really do for Riho, though?
I don't know. I haven't figured out which direction they're going with her.
I mean, I almost would have thought, okay, if Riho won, who knows, maybe this could have been a four-way for the women's championship, but they already got a four-way match going, so...
Yeah, I don't know, just kind of throwing it out there. What about Riho eventually ends up taking on Cargill?
That could be a match down the road. I just don't see Riho outpowering Jade, though.
No, but outsmarting.
Yeah, outsmarting, but I just don't see that going very well anyway. The Casino Tag Team Battle Royal, I thought it was very entertaining, although I'm kind of with you on how it ended. I'm not sure if that's going to really pull off very well for the pay-per-view tonight, but...
It was just kind of a weird ending for how pandemonious the entire match was.
Well, to me, they should have just kept the match between the Acclaimed and the Gun Club.
Yeah.
I don't really see a need for it to be a four-way. However, it'll be interesting once we start talking about our predictions for Revolution for tonight. Moving on to Rampage. I thought the opening 4-way tag team match was awesome, but the problem with matches like that is how to distribute the ring work evenly between all 4 teams to show what they got. And I didn't even really understand why they needed to have the match, to be honest. There was nothing at stake.
No, honestly, it should have just been Dark Order versus Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah, or even, make it Aussie Open versus Blackpool Combat Club or any 2 teams. This just was a little overkill for a 1-hour program.
Yeah, I think they were trying to match the hype of that Battle Royal.
Riho and Emi Sakura, Carlos mentioned they had a match on Dark, I think it was last week or the week before, and says, if you were to go back and watch that match, that's something you appreciate, and we see it here on Rampage. It must have been listening to Carlos or something, but yeah, this was a match between 2 great talent in the ring, and I don't know, there's just something about Emi and Riho that just make you want to watch them fight a little bit longer with their skill set in the ring. Powerhouse Hobbs and Serpentico, I'm not going to waste any time.
Boo.
Yeah. Keith Lee, I wish they would change his hair color back because this new color's not working for me.
Yeah, what? You don't like the oversized silver bullet?
No, I do not care for that. It makes him look 20 years older than what it did. But I do like the fact that him and Dustin worked well as a team against Swerve Strickland and Parker Boudreaux. Parker Boudreaux, sorry. Going through puberty still. Yeah, it was a good match. I just don't know what happens from here, though.
Yeah, I think they need to pick a different direction for both Keith Lee and for Swerve.
Well, I mean, did you feel like the story's over?
No, and that's what's kind of getting annoying is just, if you're going to do it, go all out on it and then have it be done with.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting on if they continue this or not. Don't they have one more person in that... They have one more person with Swerve and Parker. I just can't remember his name.
I can't either, but I'd rather see Swerve go towards the All-Atlantic.
Yeah, All-Atlantic or even the TNT Championship.
And then I'd like to see Keith Lee, going for the actual AEW. World
Championship.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Keith Lee would definitely make a great world champion or TNT champion. Maybe even the FTW championship.
Validate it first.
Yeah, I think they need to sanction that damn title finally. Because that would be a unique title for any promotion to have, really. That's all we got for AEW this week. We'll be back again, and we'll start getting right into our AEW Revolution picks. Let's get right into AEW Revolution for our predictions tonight. So, I didn't get 0 hour added into the polls that I did on my personal account. So why don't we talk about the 2 matches that will be happening in that hour there. The one match, we have the team of Mark Briscoe and the Lucha Brothers going up against Ari Daivari and the Varsity Athletes. I'm going with an easy prediction that Mark Briscoe and the Lucha Brothers are going to be victorious. William?
I don't see it going any other way than that.
Heather?
Yeah, I see Mark Briscoe and Lucha Brothers winning too.
All right. In another match, Blackpool Combat Club members Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta will be taking on Dark Order's John Silver and Alex Reynolds. I'm having to say this because I'm a fan of Dark Order. I just think Blackpool Combat Club comes out the victor in this one. William?
I think you're right about it, but I am rooting for the Dark Order on this one.
All right. Heather?
I think you're right. I think they win. Blackpool Combat Club wins.
All right. Well, looks like we're in the majority so far after 2 matches, but this was the 0 hour we're talking about. Excuse me. So why don't we go ahead and get right into the main card for tonight. Let's start off with, Actually, I did do polls on every match in the main card listed as of right now. Things could change by the time the event starts, so please bear with us on that. But all of the poll results came from my personal account at John WF Insight. I ran the polls as of yesterday, so let's start off with Jungle Boy Jack Perry versus Christian Cage. The polls favor 86% to 14% in favor of Jungle Boy Jack Perry. What's your thoughts, William?
I kind of think it's going to go that way. I do believe that Jungle Boy is going to capture the victory on this. It's been an incredible build, even though there was some downtime, some slack time from Christian. I do think we're going to see Jungle Boy come out victorious.
Heather?
That's who I picked too, was Jungle Boy, because I think that he just needs to get this win over Christian, and hopefully it'll just put the whole thing to bed and we'll be done with it.
I'm not sure. I'm not so sure it's gonna be the end of it. Let's keep in fact, Christian does have one victory over Jungle Boy, which was a cheap victory actually, because Christian was injured and they used Luchasaurus to pretty much beat down Jungle Boy for that victory. I think Jungle Boy will even up with Christian. I do think he will get the victory. I'm with the 86% on this. For the AEW Trios Championship, the Elite, who are the champions, will be defending against the House of Black. And this one kind of interests me a little bit on how the fans were looking at. The poll favors 53% to 47% in favor of the Elite. This one, I am going to disagree. I think House of Black ends up taking the championships tonight.
Jeez. Yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
Any other insight what you think? Or
I just think it's time for them to start building and growing the House of Black, whereas I think they're going to start entertaining other directions with the Elite.
Right. I think it's time to make House of Black look dominant again. I think gaining the championships aren't necessarily needed, but I do think it will help them to move on. Heather, what do you think?
Well, I picked the Elite because I was just thinking, like, with that they really hadn't had the belts that long, so I didn't just see them taking them off of them this soon. That's the only reason I picked them.
All right. We have Ricky Starks going up against Chris Jericho. The poll favors, which was a little closer on this one, for 55% to 45% in favor of Ricky Starks. Heather, what's your view on this one?
I picked Ricky Starks because Chris Jericho is not going to have anybody out there to help him, and I think that Ricky Starks will just whoop Chris Jericho's ass and be done with it.
William?
I'm going with Starks because I do think they're going to start pushing a turn for Chris Jericho, so they're going to keep up with the amazing sets of losses with Jericho.
Well, I'm trying to remember. Doesn't Ricky Starks have a victory over Jericho already?
He does. And then you mentioned the next year's cruise.
Well, actually, it was...
or was it this year's?
It was actually this year's cruise that Jericho teamed up with Danhausen.
Okay, yeah. I
thought they would have pushed for a turn on Jericho before that, but that shows you how well that worked out. I don't know. I don't really see Jericho turning face yet. I think they're going to find ways to keep this one going a little bit longer. I have a gut feeling Chris Jericho ends up being victorious on this, so I am going against the poll on this one. I'm thinking Jericho pulls the victory and evens out between him and Ricky Starks. Moving on, we got the AEW TNT Championship. The double champion, Samoa Joe, keep in mind he's also the Ring of Honor TV champion. He's going to be defending the TNT Championship against Wardlow. This one kind of intrigued me as well. This was also a 55% to 45% in favor for Samoa Joe. And I think knowing now that Will Hobbs is going to challenge the winner of this match, I think one of two things. If Samoa Joe ends up retaining tonight, he will drop the championship to Will Hobbs. If Wardlow wins tonight, I think Wardlow retains against Powerhouse Hobbs. I don't know. This can go either way. I thought it would be a little closer. I think Samoa Joe ends up winning this. How about you, William?
I'm really not sure either. I'm actually going to go with Wardlow.
All right. Heather?
I picked Wardlow because I think it would be kind of like him getting revenge over Samoa Joe for turning on him like he did. And I just chose Wardlow.
All right. Well, we go to the AEW World Tag Team Championship 4-way match. The champions, the Gun Club, will defend against the Acclaimed, Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, and Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. This is quite the difference in character teams here. This poll kind of intrigued me because this did not quite go the way I thought. I think everybody's looking at the booking standpoint or predictability, but 41% in favor for the Guns to retain, 24% for Jay Lethal, Jeff Jarrett, 21% for the Acclaimed. Carlos is going to beat some asses, I see here. And 14% were in favor of Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. I definitely don't see Orange Cassidy and Danhausen taking it. Mm-mm. I don't see Lethal or Jarrett taking it. I was kind of more thinking Acclaimed and Gun Club would have been the two higher one. But 41% for the Gun Club. What do you see, or how do you feel on that one?
I feel like that's horrible. There's two teams I'd really rather see get it, and that's the Acclaimed or Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett. I am going to go with the Acclaimed.
Heather?
That's who I picked, was the Acclaimed.
And
just say it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm right there. I think the better move would be put the championships back on the Acclaimed. I feel everyone's kind of trying to validate their point when they pick the Gun Club. Why would Tony change the titles after he just put it on the Gun Club? Well, that's because so many people are not with the Gun Club right now. I mean, there could be...
The ass boys.
The ass boys, as Danhausen would say, yes. I don't know. I kind of would think the Acclaimed or Lethal and Jarrett are probably going to be your two better picks. But this will definitely be interesting if the Gun Club does retain. If they do, then it sucks, because I think the Acclaimed really should have invoked their rematch clause, one-on-one and not so much a four-way match. It just... not quite sure where the storyline was going in favor for the Acclaim to do that. It just doesn't make sense. So, however, if the Gun Club does win, at least it kind of protects them in a way, saying, oh, hey, we defended against four other teams. And, they didn't have to beat the Acclaim. They could have just go as far as beating Danhausen for all we know, and they retain their championships that way. Either, I don't know. It's going to be kind of a weird mess right there. I know Heather's looking forward to this next match, the Texas Death Match between Jon Moxley and Hangman Adam Page. And the polls were split on this, 50-50. There was no clear winner based among the fans. So, Heather, I have a feeling I know your pick on this one.
Of course, it's Jon Moxley.
William?
I'm actually with Heather on this one. I think it's time to put an end to this rivalry. So I'm going with Mox.
I'm going to go with Hangman Adam Page. I think he's going to get that victory and even out the series 2-2 with Moxley after tonight. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be bloody. And if you're one that gets queasy with really graphic nature, this will definitely not be the match for you to watch. So going on to the AEW Women's Championship in a three-way, the champion, Jamie Hayter, will be defending against Saraya and Ruby Soho. Poll favor in this one, 55% for Jamie Hayter to retain. 31% are saying Saraya and 14% are saying Ruby Soho. I agree with this one. I really think the majority is picking Jamie Hayter's the safe move. I can't imagine them taking the championship off her with her having the being over with the fans still and how much momentum she has with the fan base. I just think right now would not be the right time to take the championship off of her. Will, what would you say?
You pretty much took the words out of my mouth. I'm going with Hayter on this one because of the very fact that she's so over.
And Heather?
Yeah, I picked Jamie Hayter too. I don't see them taking the belt off her.
All right. And the match that everybody is really looking forward to, the 60-minute challenge for the AEW World Championship. The champion MJF will be defending against Bryan Danielson. And this poll was a little closer than I thought it would be. 56% to 44% in favor of MJF. And the reason I say that is because I think MJF should have a much higher percentage showing that he's going to win this. Heather?
I picked MJF. You know, I hate to say that. I don't like him, but I think he's going to win. For some reason, I just don't see him losing the belt this soon. Like, they hyped it up too much, and the storyline and everything, I just don't see him losing the belt.
Yeah, I think it's way too early, especially how the fans have been behind the support of MJF to win that championship finally, especially after the whole CM Punk deal went down. I don't, unless CM Punk is going to surprisingly return tonight, which many fans are speculating, I don't see it. I think the better move is to keep that belt on MJF and have him move on to the next person. What do you think, Will?
Yeah, I'm all MJF on this one. Like, let's be honest, he's kind of the perfect heel right now. He's extremely good at weaseling. He's actually extremely talented in the ring. So the other part of it that kind of sticks in the back of my head is the fact that Bryan Danielson is just looking towards the end run for him before he retires from full-time in-ring. So he doesn't even want a belt.
No, I mean, he doesn't need a championship. His character's not needing to get over. There's nothing to validate his Hall of Fame career.
Yeah, so there's no push for him.
No, I mean, to help Maxwell, Jacob Friedman get over even more, I think Bryan Danielson was the right choice for his first title. Well, his first pay-per-view title defense. Obviously, Ricky Starks was the first one that got the shot, but having a very well-known legend like Bryan Danielson to help further MJF's demeanor even more as his character grows, this was the right call, and I think Bryan will put him over even more and make him be the true devil that he claims to be.
Yep.
And did you guys have any surprise guesses for tonight? I'll start with William on that.
I don't.
Heather, are you looking forward to maybe any possible surprises tonight?
No, I hadn't really thought about it.
So my next question will be, what match? We'll start with Heather. What match are you looking forward to most tonight?
The Texas Death Match. I want to see, John Moxley and Hangman. But I'm not looking forward to all the blood because I know that's what's coming.
Oh yeah, you have to know that's coming. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that one. William, what would you say you're most looking forward to tonight?
Honestly, I don't know. It's kind of straightforward for the most part. There's only a couple of matches that I think are going to be kind of back and forth. I'm definitely interested in seeing how the tag team championship works out. But I really, really I'm looking forward to the Lucha Brothers teamed up with.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're teaming with Mark Briscoe in the 0 Hours.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that one it went out of my head.
You're good. I'm thinking my go-to match tonight will definitely be the 60-minute match between Brian Danielson and MJF. It's going to be interesting to see if Max can go the full 60 minutes, and really looking forward to how Max's career is going to go after this match. So normally this would be about the time we do a top 10, but we decided this week, piss on it. So anyhow, we're going to go right to shout-outs. Did you have any shout-outs this week, Will?
I do not. I just want to thank the fans always. I've had an extremely hectic and busy week, so I was barely even able to watch the content.
All right. Well, okay. Heather, do you have any shout-outs this week?
I guess NWO Machine, Vader from Wish, Wrestling with the True Podcast, or Wrestling with War. Well, y'all know who you are. Let's see. I can't never think of her name. Is it Execution 84, Sarah Golden?
Yeah, Execution 84.
Yeah. Obey Jess, even though she's not on Twitter right now because she's going through some stuff. And just everybody that listens.
All right. I've got a couple I'm going to throw out there. Fan and Van podcast. He does a wonderful job on his. Also want to give a big shout out to Chris and Deb at Today We Laughed and Learned. They just had their 1-year anniversary in podcasting. So congratulations to those two ladies there, and looking forward to seeing what they bring us here in year 2 on their podcast adventure. And I also want to give a big shout out to Films and Fermentation. They're another great podcast to go check out, as well as Austin Boyer there with the Wrestling World. As you mentioned, BC Hunter, Jay Myers doing a great job with Wrestling with the War. Yes, you heard that right. If you haven't been listening to them lately, they changed their format this year and covering the Monday Night Wars back in the Attitude and Monday Nitro eras, so definitely give them a listen. And also want to give a big shout out to Ted the Hillbilly Hill. He's not on Twitter at the moment. He's decided to take an indefinite break from it. But Ted, thank you for the shout out for us last week. And that was a real amazing job with your podcast last week. Sorry, Ted did a really wonderful job last week on Pardon the Interruption episode, where a lot of the promos have been getting interrupted, and go give him a listen. He definitely deserves the support, and really great guy. Other than that, I have nothing else to go on, so we're going to go ahead and get it wrapped up so everyone can get ready for AEW Revolution. Thank you to Lipson. Thank you to Lipson for hosting this podcast and providing it to every available audio platform. Go visit our website at www.wrestlingfansinsight.com. Insight spelled INCITE. And go visit our website there to find us on your favorite audio platform. We're available on Good Pods, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Ghana, YouTube, and much more. If you like our podcast and want to be notified of our latest releases, please subscribe on our page at WrestlingFansInsight.com or whichever audio platform you listen on. And while you're at it, if it's possible, give us a 5-star rating and review. We'd be happy to read your review on any future recording. You can also follow and interact with us on Twitter. My handle personally is at JohnJohnWFInsight, or you can go to the podcast account at WF Insight Podcast. William, your Twitter handle?
At William Hoppe, HOPPE 8.
Heather?
At Bama _ the number 4 _ EVA. Bama Girl Forever.
And you forgot your line.
Roll Tide, bitches.
See, there you go. And I want to give I actually do need to give a big shout out to Carlos. Again, he's at the AEW Revolution pay-per-view tonight. He is going to be in attendance. So, Carlos, we're expecting to see that big smile and some more pictures. And I want to give Carlos his handles while we're at it. Carlos, you can reach his personal handle on Twitter at C_LOS77, or his nonprofit at Conquer the No. And one of our other guys who isn't normally on the podcast weekly, but is going to be our YouTube guy and has his own show, Tap Out Talk, at the Brian with a Y Adkins, just like the name of the diet, the Brian Adkins. And other than that, you can find us on Facebook. Just look for our group, The Fans of Pro Wrestling. And lastly, if you'd like to leave us a text message or give us a voicemail, our number is 1-385-367-4772. We hope you enjoyed this week's program, and we'll be back next Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on Twitter Space. Be safe, be kind, and have a great week.